Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Marc Medley Show. And we're going to have some fun with this particular show on this evening or this morning or this afternoon or whenever you may be listening to it. Because I can tell, and I'm sure, by the time you read the title on this one, you'll be wondering, what? Did I read that right? And I titled it this way because this is a family podcast. Because there's another way that I could say what it is that I'm trying to get at. But I did title the title of this particular episode in a family-friendly way, in a politically correct way. But I think you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. I record this in the Northeast, and we had some wonderful weather this weekend. I had the opportunity to go out on my bicycle on yesterday and today. I logged 20 miles on yesterday and 21 miles on today. So I'm feeling great. Our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to all those folks who have been in the path of Irma. Right now, Irma's sitting in Florida or moving somewhere up that southeast coast. So all the folks who were in Irma's path in the Caribbean and Cuba and Puerto Rico and all the various islands, and now it's hit Florida. And of course, we don't forget those who were in Texas who suffered through Harvey. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them. But tonight's podcast, or today's podcast, or this afternoon's podcast, depending again on when you're listening to it, is titled, So, You Want to Treat Me Like Crap, and You Expect Me to Pucker Up to Your Derriere. And really what I'm talking about in this episode is the golden rule. And that is how we treat each other and the expectations we have of each other based on how we treat each other. Now, the golden rule in most of your religious type books, whether it's the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, and any of the other religious books, most of them, if not all of them, have something dealing with what we call the golden rule, which generally goes something along the lines of do unto others how you would have them to do unto you. In other words, you don't do to somebody else what you wouldn't want done to you. Yet every day I deal with people and I see people who literally treat other people like crap. And then they honestly expect that same person or that same group of people to turn around and do something nice for them. I've personally been in situations where someone is asking for my support, and in that asking for the support came across as so cocky and arrogant and disrespectful and nasty. Now this, mind you, is someone who is seeking the support of me. And then when the support is not given based on the approach, then they want to get the attitude as if I was the one who caused the initial issue. When truth be told, it was the approach. I am a big aviation buff. Anybody who knows me or listens to any of my shows, whether it's this one or the Reading Circle with Marc Medley, they know that I love aviation. If you walk into my office, you'll see aviation pictures and models all over the place. And the one thing I do know about aviation in terms of crashes, if you want to crash on landing, have a bad approach. Most airplane accidents on landing has something, if it's not a mechanical, if it's not a pilot error, has something to do with approach. That's how you're coming into the airport or coming into the runway. I mean, in terms of coming into the runway and approach, there's all types of things going on. There's what they call the glide scope. There's descent rate. There's your airspeed. There's a whole lot of things that go into play when we say approach. And if you have any of those things that are off, any of those things that are not where they're supposed to be, you stand a great chance of crashing that aircraft upon landing. And it's the same thing when you're dealing with people. Depending on how you approach a person could depend on how you get back what you get back. I mean, I know a lot of times, at least when I was younger, and I think even it probably holds true today, when a guy was approaching a young lady looking for her telephone number or a date, and if he didn't get the number, they would say he crashed and burned. Well, a lot of times that's exactly what happens when people interact with each other, and the party that's asking for something acts in a way or approaches you in a way or tone, body language, manner that totally turns off the person of whom the support is being asked of. And then when the person does not respond or responds back to them in the same manner that they approach them in, then they try to turn the tables and act as if you're the issue. But if we would just follow the golden rule, if we would just treat people the way that we would want to be treated, because think about it, would you want someone to come and ask you in the manner of which I just described? And would you now do whatever it is that they ask you to do in that manner? And the answer most likely would be no. Yet they expect whomever they've asked in that manner to do what they want. So that's why it's titled, so let me get this straight. You want to treat me like crap, you want to treat me like feces, and at the same time, you're expecting me to pucker up to your derriere. Now, there's another way to say pucker up to your derriere, but as I said, since this is G-rated, since we will not use explicit language, since families may be listening, young children may be listening, I won't say it the other way, but you know what I'm talking about when I say pucker up to your derriere. That's actually the expectation that I can talk to you any old kind of way, treat you any old kind of way, go silent or ignore you when I feel like, and you're still supposed to do whatever it is that I ask you to do. Something is wrong with that. The golden rule says treat others the way that you would want to be treated. And I am positive if the world operated more off of the golden rule, if we honestly, before we did anything to anybody, ask, would I want that done to me? I deal with children because, again, if you've listened to either one of the shows, whether it's the Reading Circle with Marc Medley or whether it's this show, the Marc Medley Show, you know that I'm the principal of a school. I'm the principal of an elementary school, and I work with young children from grades 2 to 8 every day. And that age group, and the high school group does too, but in that age group, the kids, every now and again, they'll get into a little tussle. They'll get into a fight. They'll get into a battle. They'll get into a verbal sparring. And the question that's always asked is, would you have wanted that person to do that to you? And the kid always say no. If it's the perpetrator, the kid that hit the other kid, would you have wanted that kid to hit you? No. Then why did you hit him or her? Would you want that child to call your mother a name? No. Then why did you call his mother a name? See, I was saying, we don't operate off of the true golden rule because we don't think about the golden rule whenever we're doing whatever we do. As I said with the children, would you want what was done or said, what you said or did to that person, would you want that done to you? The answer is always no. So knowing that, why then would you do that to someone else? Would you want somebody to come and smack you across the back of your head? No. Then why did you smack him on the back of his head? Would you want someone to say that in that manner that they said it to you? No. Then why did you say it in that manner to that person? Would you want the tone or the body language coming at you the way you said it to him or her? No. Then why didn't you think about that before you did it? And then, as I said, the real kicker is once you call somebody on that, they try to spin it around as if you are the one that has the issue, knowing good and full well that if the tables were turned, they would not tolerate that and take that if somebody was now saying it to them. So I'm going to say again. So you want to treat me like crap. You want to treat me like trash. You want to treat me like feces, and you expect me to pucker up to your derriere. And I'm sharing this in a tongue-in-cheek manner, but you get my point. We really need to give some thought as to how we approach people. We need to give some thought in terms of what we say to people, and we really need to think about, would I want that done to me? How would I feel if that were done to me? What would my feelings feel like if the same thing that I just did to her or him, someone did to me? That's why the golden rule exists. As I said, in most of your religious doctrine, in most of your religious books, somewhere it's worded in a way of having to do something to someone else in a manner of which you would like it done to you. When you think about it, that's only common sense. You would think, but that old adage says common sense is not too common. Think about that. Before you say something, the tone. If you're writing it down, the words. And the real sad part of it is, a lot of times when we're talking about calling people on their actions or holding them accountable or now issuing consequences, they don't see anything wrong with it. And that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is you don't see anything wrong with what you said. You don't see anything wrong in the manner of which you said that. You don't see anything wrong in the tone. And a lot of times the person will tell you, I didn't see anything wrong with that. And therein lies the issue. The fact that you don't see anything wrong with it is the issue. And then you wonder why people are turning away from you. You wonder why you're lonely. You wonder why you're isolated. You wondered why nobody wants to be bothered with you. You wonder why nobody wants to help or support you, when at the end of the day, it's your approach. Keep in mind my airplane analogy in terms of landing. Bad approach. A lot of times when a pilot has a bad approach, they will go around. If the approach is not good, sometimes they might even have to do what they call a touch and go. They will have to come down near the runway and then go back up and circle, because the approach was bad. They don't want to crash. So that's all I'm saying for those of you who are listening to this episode. If you happen to be the person and you're kind of wondering, well, why do people act the way they act towards me? You might want to take a look at how are you approaching or acting toward them. Now, I'm also very clear, most of the religious doctrines say don't do an eye for an eye, don't do evil for evil. If the person is mean to you, you don't have to be mean back to them. I understand and I get that. I'm just saying, in the event that you find yourself in a situation where you have disrespected someone and you did not get the support that you were looking for, that could be why. I thank you for listening. I hope you caught exactly what the title says. So you want to treat me like crap and you expect me to pucker up to your derriere. For most folks, I don't think that's going to happen. Again, thanks for listening. You can catch the Marc Medley Show on all the major distributors. Please subscribe. Please follow. Whether it's on Spreaker, TuneIn, iHeart, YouTube, Wonder Radio, Stitcher, any of those, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. Trying to keep all of the lists in my head, but it's on all the majors. So if you please do me that favor and please follow or subscribe, I would truly appreciate it. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever you may be listening.